Tell me when people see it.
I think people.
We're streaming.
Christian, can people see it?
Let us find out. It looks like yes, they can.
Yes, they can.
Oh, you good people. Let us find out. Oh, I heard it.
You heard it. You heard it from here.
Did you mute your computer?
It was my iPhone I was coming out of.
Or did you mute your iPhone?
Well, actually,
Yes,
are we live? Are we live?
Yeah, I just looked at it.
Are we
Are we live,
human?
though?
Or are we dancer?
Let me check Twitch. Twitch check. Twitch check.
Checking Twitch.
Twitch. Wait, it's not twitch.com?
It's twitch.tv.
God damn it. I should have known.
Well, I'm good on my end.
Can you just keep talking?
I'm
Robbie?
talking this through. Welcome to Was It Good?
Get
We just
angry?
finished watching Spider-Man Far From Home, Marvel's newest MCY film.
You're lying. We didn't just finish watching it. We just finished watching Stranger Things.
What's up? This is Arjuna talking. Hello. Getting really angry. There we go. Okay. I'm not really going to talk that loud.
I was about to say
would
you're like hurting my eardrums.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just very sing-songy. Should we sing
a song? Should
we sing the song from Stranger Things? No, the better one that Dustin and his girlfriend Susie Cakes.
I don't even know what song that was, but it was annoying AF. I'm sure it's like a classic, because that's why they used it, but horrible.
It was the thingamajiggy.
Stranger
Story
Things?
Time. Or A Never Ending Story. There we go.
Oh.
Yes. It was very, very boring and stupid.
It was stupid.
Stupid fat hobbit.
Jesus.
Wow. Don't do that, Arjuna.
Yeah, don't do that ever again. Don't do that ever again.
Everyone ready?
Yep.
All right.
Whenever you're ready.
Give me a few minutes.
How come we're not live on Instagram?
You can't go. I don't know how many times I have to tell or explain.
No,
this to
I want you to
people.
tell me again.
I think he was being facetious.
No, he's not. He's being serious.
How come we're not live on the White House homepage?
That's a good question, actually. Do you have an answer to that?
Why would I have an answer to the White House homepage?
So
Well,
I'm gonna say you don't have.
You're
an
the
answer to
live
that.
streaming expert. You tell me why we don't.
Because we
Sir?
don't have access
God,
to them.
our producer is such an amateur.
God.
Wait, I'm the producer.
Wow.
I'm an amateur.
Well, you would know, wouldn't you?
I'm an amateur, guys.
More like you're an avatar.
I am the avatar.
Avatar 2.
Greatest film ever. Avatar 2. We got no cups. We got no things. We got no.
All right, for anyone watching, we're about to do Spider-Man Far From Home. On a side note,
Spider-Man.
we did just finish Stranger Things Season 3, which we will probably do a podcast on in the near future. But let us know what you thought, if you have binged watched that show like we just did. We watched it in about, 12 hours?
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Just over 12 hours?
We started it last night.
Yeah. And we did. We went 6 of 8 episodes last night.
6 of 8. And then
6 of 8, and then we did 2 more.
Something like that.
I kind of like watching it that close together.
Oh, me too. It's much more enjoyable.
Is it?
Well, the fact that we actually binged it says something about it.
I had literally nothing else to do. So
Yeah,
Well,
but
there
if
you
it was bad, you
Actually,
wouldn't have wanted
no,
to
you
go.
had options last night. You did. I heard the discussion. You could have gone out. And you decided, no, I'm going to sit here in my underwear.
Wasn't in my underwear.
He was.
In a public place, a.k.a. our living room,
What the
and
hell?
watch Stranger Things Season 3. And not only just watch it, but watch 6 episodes. So, let that be an indicator.
All right, I'm ready. Did you look through the outline?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here we go.
You farting?
Where are you pointing at, Krishna?
The cat. He's in his cam. He's
Is
in
he
his
really?
chair. You know how rare this is?
I think it actually happens more than you think.
Yeah, well, it's amazing every time he does it.
We gotta lower this a little. Here we go.
Yeah, it's just incredible to me that it happens when it does, because cats never do what you want them to do when you want them to do it.
It's true.
So,
All right,
there
ready?
he is.
Yep.
That beautiful.
Okay, here we go. In 5,
He's licking himself.
You probably want to just cut back to like the 3.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh, okay. Welcome to Was It Good? We just finished watching Spider-Man Far From Home, Marvel's newest MCU film. I'm your host Ravi, joined by my two brothers, Christian and Arjuna. We're discussing where this film takes place in the MCU, how the world is post-snap, is Marvel wasting our time, and answering the age-old question of, was it good?
Nice.
I
That was
know,
great.
right? That was good.
That might have been your best one in a few weeks, to be honest.
Thank you.
Like you didn't rush it.
Nope.
It's because we're doing late in the day. You haven't just had coffee, so you're not like hyped out of your mind.
That's true. That is also true as well.
It's like nice cadence.
Thank you, Krishna.
Yeah.
That's probably the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
It is.
If that was your best one,
Mhm.
then we should all be looking for new work.
Oh boy.
That is not wrong.
Let's gear it back towards Spider-Man Far From Home. On this podcast, we like to do something right off the top. It's called our one-word impressions. And usually, I let one of you two go first.
Ooh.
And I'm going to change it up. I'm going to be selfish.
Okay. This is
and,
good.
and actually have Arjuna go because I actually don't think. I thought of my one-word impression. I was about to say it, and I was like, no, I hate it. So, never mind. Juna, you go first.
My one-word impression is forgettable. And the reason I go for forgettable is we're going to get into this right after, but I do the section What Happened for the podcast, and I wrote it a few hours ago, and I just saw this movie 4 days ago.
Actually, at
days
the beginning, I said we just watched
Okay,
this.
but in reality, I watched this movie a few days ago, and I struggled to recall the order of events in the movie. So I'm going to go forgettable because I've already forgotten large portions of this movie.
That's That's sad. But
That is sad.
we are definitely going to jump into that more because, like I said right at the beginning, is Marvel just wasting our time at this point? So I think that's an interesting
Post-blip.
post-blip. Yeah, this is... What number movie is this, by the way?
23.
This is a 23rd
23 now.
motherfucking MCU movie out there.
Yeah.
True.
Can somebody, right off the top, tell me what number 14 was? Yeah, that's what I thought. Nobody knows.
Well, I could
Why would
literally
anybody? Why would
I could
anyone
literally
know
hear
that?
the crickets in my brain. I'm gonna guess. Guardians.
I saw some smoke coming out of your head.
yeah. That was
Guys,
like-
I can find the answer.
No, I really don't want to know. Christian, your one-word impression.
I'm gonna steal it right from your little reaction to Arjuna's thing. Post blip.
post-blip.
Well, that's 2 words though, right?
That's too, I mean, I guess...
How about this?
Say it in a sentence.
I'm just gonna say blip.
Blip?
Yeah. And here's why it's a blip. Not for the reason you think.
Yep.
It's a blip because I think it's actually one of the better sequel movies in the solo movie stuff, if that makes sense. So outside of the team-up movies, most sequels to these individual heroes have been not just forgettable, but just patently bad.
Right.
And I really did not like Spider-Man Homecoming. I thought it was massively overrated. And so this was a blip in my expectations of what I thought this movie was going to be.
A blip.
And blip also refers to
The snap.
the snap.
I have an answer to the 14th movie in the MCU.
Oh, for the love of God. Why?
It's everyone's favorite movie,
Sure.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Wow.
Good lord.
That movie was number 14.
Wow. I
It's
feel
9
like that would
movies
have
ago.
came so much later.
Well,
but yeah.
Phase 3 is 3, 6, 9, 11 movies.
Oh, wow.
Oh, shit.
That's kind of silly.
Versus the other 2 phases are 6
Oh,
movies.
everyone, spoiler alert. Yeah.
I mean, I should be writing that more. So I guess this wasn't my best intro ever.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, we haven't actually ruined anything yet. So
It's
we
true.
actually put it in a good
True.
place.
What is an intro?
So for our one-word impression so far, Krishna, you gave us blip. Arjuna, you gave us forgotten. And I'm going to go with, and I believe, and Juna, for the love of God, don't fact check me on this. Nobody cares. I'm going to use the term shiny. I say
Shiny.
don't fact check me because I feel like I've used that before in another movie. But I want to use shiny here or some kind of synonym?
Synonym.
Synonym.
Why am I?
You used it
the
very recently
That's what I thought.
on another Disney movie.
Yeah.
Toy Story 4.
That's right. So I want to use shiny again, though, because the CGI in this film
Yeah.
is some of the most awful CGI in a superhero film I've seen since Black Panther. Black
Wow.
Panther is quintessential. Was in terms of my power rankings, the number one worst CGI superhero film. This is by far the easiest, worst, just absolute
This is worse than Black Panther?
worst CGI for yeah.
So it's worse than Black Panther?
Guys,
Worse than Black Panther.
Wow.
Guys, we have a perfect sentence
We
if
do.
you combine our
do.
words. It's forgettable, shiny blip.
There you go. That's the sentence. So the official Was It Good Cruise
Wow.
quick tagline to review the film is forgettable shiny blip.
I think that's all. I think that's it. I think
think
the pod's
that-
done.
I think that
No,
that makes it kind of like-
no, because my blip was a positive word. I know it seems like it's a negative.
it seems like
but
it's a negative,
positive.
but
it was.
to
I was
clarify
trying to be clever
back to your word blip, you're calling it a blip because
in a good way.
in a good way.
Yes.
But the term or the word blip is negative.
No. Blip in and of itself is neither negative nor positive. Most people choose to use it perhaps in a negative way. Blip to
Gotcha.
me just means like you're going along like this, you
Yep.
know, like a nice even keel thing, and a blip is like a a spike or a divot in the road, or it's an unexpected happening.
An
If you will.
unexpected happening.
And for me, that's what this movie was. I was surprised. Yeah,
an unexpected
in a good way.
happening.
A good blip.
It's kind of like when you eat a burrito and you got a massive, massive like fart to let out. Blip.
I forgot Arjun. No.
This movie is a fart.
This movie is a fart.
No,
Wow.
that's not the way I wanted to use it.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to think on, because I still feel like
You're overthinking it, man.
I definitely totally
Yeah.
overthinking it. Okay, let's moving on into this podcast and kind of really diving in. I think we should put a disclaimer out there. A lot of people that listen to our podcast, a lot of the feedback we get is that we're always finding things to nitpick. And to that, I want to say yes.
Yes, we are.
That's what we do.
We expect perfection
Yeah.
every time we see a movie.
We're never going to get perfection, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's always having fun and just
Yeah.
nitpicking the hell out of it.
Yeah, we hope that the nitpicking, or at least coming from three slightly different perspectives, and you'll agree with some of it, you'll disagree with some of it, but it's just for good fun.
Yeah, like that movie that you will stand by. What was it? What was
Triple Frontier.
Yeah.
Triple
that-
Frontier,
yeah.
great movie.
Hey, Krishna, have
the
fun.
millennials here think it was a jerk off.
Well, actually, I saw an article from Netflix today says that Netflix is now, because of Triple Frontier and the failure of Triple Frontier and the amount of money they put into it, they are reassessing how much money they put into Netflix original movies.
Thank fucking
And
God.
that's because of you two. I blame you two because you can't see
on-
true art.
Honestly, if that's the case, and we were able to get them to fix their idiotic ways, then to me that's a win.
That's a success.
We have succeeded.
No,
It's a win-win-win.
you should. There are plenty of other movies you should have done it with.
Anyway, let's kind of give a general recap in our producer Arjuna's favorite section that he writes. He spends a lot of energy and time in this. And I want to try something new this time, Krishna. I want you and I to kind of grade Arjuna on his what
interesting.
happened.
Okay.
To kind of like see, did he actually put effort into this, or did he just have a laugh?
This one's gonna be rough.
So here we go. So our what happened, which is done by Arjuna Ramgopal. You can find if you want to find his address, just DM me afterwards.
Arjuna Ramgopal, ESPN.
And we don't work for ESPN. So here we go. What happened? In Arjuna's words: Mexico,
C,
school TV memorial,
B plus,
spider charity,
B.
awkward old people flirting.
I don't want you to remember that one.
Oh boy.
B-
Oh boy.
I'm gonna say B.
So awkward old people flirting. That was Happy and his aunt.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Where he's like, "That's a nice new dress," and it's like,
I got you.
"What just happened?"
To Europe,
I give it a C.
flight shenanigans,
B.
water attack,
B.
spy shit with glasses.
B.
Mysterio is a good guy.
Oh, you ruined it, Junior. That's a C. You're giving it away.
Redirect.
Giving it away.
Redirect.
I'm gonna say C.
Bus drones.
Bus Jones is a C.
Bathroom.
But no, you gotta do it right, Abby. Bathroom.
Bathroom.
In all caps. That's an A.
That's an A.
That's
Okay.
definitely an A.
I love you, but I can't say it. I am an awkward teen. Okay, gotta run. Bye.
I'm gonna say B plus because that could also be applied to Stranger Things. So well done.
Lava monster dies. Everyone wins.
It's a C plus.
Oh my God, Arjuna, really? Mysterio is actually a bad guy.
That's an F?
That's an F.
Because you ruined it
That
already.
fucking sucks. That
You
was
ruined it.
terrible.
You ruined it from the first time.
This is wow.
I have a rebuttal to this whole thing.
Sure.
Afterwards.
Okay. I am Spider-Man, but MJ figured it out. Okay. Kids figure out Mysterio is bad.
Yeah, that's a C. That was lazy, Juno.
Peter versus Mysterio, round 1.
That's a B+. That's pretty good.
Happy and Peter have a heart-to-heart.
A-.
Good guy. Oh, Battle in London.
Juno, if you had made it Battle for London, that would have been an A+. But Battle in London, it's an A-.
Good guys win. That's an F.
Yeah, man. Wait, there's still 2 more.
Yep. Commissioner Gordon outs Spider-Man. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the actor who plays
Yeah, J.K. Simmons played Gordon in Justice League.
But he also played the original.
He did?
Yeah, but that's the joke, right? Because like everyone obviously like, oh, it's
I'm gonna give you a C on this only because you could have gone with OG JJ.
So that was too simple. I went with the joke that here's the role that no one's gonna ever remember him for.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're not.
If I
In
just
your
Hold on,
efforts
one more,
to be too
one more.
smart.
We got one more here. And to wrap it all up, obviously I'm just referring to the post-credit scene. Oh, look, Skrulls.
Oh, look, Skrulls. You know what? I like that.
That's good.
A-.
Oh, look, Skrulls.
Yeah.
Say that 10 times fast.
Oh, look, Skrulls. Oh, look, Skrulls. Oh, look, Skrulls. Oh, look. Yeah.
I put the effort into this movie that they put into making this movie.
Wow,
and
Jonah.
into my details.
That's interesting, actually.
So like, oh, the Mysterio's a bad guy. That was because, and I'll get into this later. I think I have a rant or something.
When don't you?
I've just the marketing of Mysterio's a good guy.
Nice.
Wow, Arjuna. So he just shat on an entire department whose job is to sell this movie
I don't blame the
by
marketing.
making a noise.
I don't blame the marketing team.
Wow, Arjuna.
The marketing team's giving, they were given the directions of this is X, Y, and Z. I shit on the person whose decision it was. Is like, yeah, we can trick the audience, and Mysterio's the good guy. Yeah.
So to be fair, let's jump into it. Let's start right there.
I think that's a great place to start.
I think because we are all, we classify ourselves as like nerds or like people that like the pop culture crap. We all grew up watching the 1990s animated Spider-Man. We all saw, for the most part, I think that was our first time being introduced to the world of Mysterio.
Sure.
So we knew at the get-go that he is this villain. He uses the idea of illusion to kind of get around, etc., etc. So for us, I think it was obvious, right, knowing that Mysterio was going to be a bad guy and all that fun jazz. Mm-hmm. We did remember, I've asked a couple of people that aren't as big into like the whole nerdom and stuff, and they didn't actually see that coming. Okay. Even based on the marketing that was presented to them, they did genuinely think it was a bad guy.
That's not true. You said Trevor said he saw it coming.
That was a different person.
Yeah, but Trevor is our baseline
right.
of plebeians.
Wow.
Just kidding, Trevor.
I hope Trevor's not watching this.
But you said Trevor had no idea, like didn't know anything about Spider-Man.
Sure. So Trevor doesn't watch like the comics or anything like that. But
so
yes,
he knew.
He knew.
He said it was obvious from the start, and it was obvious from the start. It was badly done. All right, next point.
Well, I mean, I'm not done with this point. I mean, I guess you can also kind of dive into the actual movie itself. Like, let's ignore the marketing for a second.
Sure.
We all kind of have a basic understanding of how the 3-story act works. And by the time, obviously, they kill the last monster, elemental as they call them, which were all just fake illusions, there's more than... We're only like halfway through the movie, right?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, so you kind of obviously knew something was going on in terms of what information you were being presented, just from a storytelling standpoint. There had to be something else, something more there. So that obviously did not help them. The other point, and I think we talked about this a little bit too, or Junior, I think you mentioned this, was because we did this kind of stupid optical illusion, it gave less time to actually understand Mysterio or why the hell he did anything that he did, right?
Yeah, so one thing I liked about Homecoming was the development and what they did with Vulture, which is Michael Keaton's Vulture. Like he was a character you can understand, right? He was he was an everyday blue collar type of guy. He kind of went out of, his business changed with the emergence of superheroes, and he became this guy who collected alien stuff and sold it to make a living. With Mysterio, like Ravi said, I think because you had this reveal halfway through, you had this kind of awkward scene where Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio just explains a plan to a room of people that already know the plan. It's an info dump, right?
Yep.
Just for the sake of the audience, and it's
not well done.
It's not well done, and it's just like, cool. This should have been a bigger moment, right? And it's not necessarily that I'm upset that it was obvious, because yes, it was obvious. It was poorly done, and just everything about it just felt lazy. It felt like it wasn't handled well, and then we have Jake Gyllenhaal who's upset that Tony Stark named his system Barf.
Yeah,
that's literally his character motivation.
So here's,
and it's like,
yeah.
And also here's the thing. We're all mad at Tony Stark, even though he literally just saved the universe 8 months ago.
Right.
Literally, ultimate sacrifice, everything like that. But we're still mad. Like it felt tone deaf.
I didn't mind that part at all, because let's be honest, people live in their own bubble,
Sure.
And people are gonna blame their employers, even if they do great things. I didn't mind that at all. But what I did mind was this. So from my tone, I hope you're already getting that I had a relatively positive experience with the movie. The worst part of the movie by far was Mysterio, and which is actually mind blowing to me, because they have a great actor in Jake Gyllenhaal, who has a wide range of acting ability, right? They should have let him go full Donnie Darko. The way to make Mysterio work is, and they try to, I feel like, with that speech, right? That speech is the first time he's Mysterio,
Sure.
right? And he was supposed to acting like a madman, right? That was kind of the shtick I think they were trying to go for, and it was too tame. They should have let him be crazier than that, or developed a different style instead of him just yelling. Right? Have him be like super creepy or something. But, that's not the decision they went with. That's not the direction they went with. Outside of Mysterio, which, was obvious to me, because unfortunately I already know about Mysterio and saw that coming. The rest of the movie was great. It's just that part was...
The rest of the movie was great.
Yes.
Interesting.
It was.
Christian, tell us, what was so great about it?
What was your favorite part?
We're in the favorite
movie?
part. Yes.
Oh man, my favorite part. I think my favorite part is gonna be a collection of parts. All the stuff, and it's gonna be weird to say, but all the high schooly stuff around Peter Parker, all the character development. But like, no, seriously, like, all those interactions were like super funny. It kind of reminded me a little bit of what they did with Guardians, where they just let the characters sort of rift and exist outside of the role of a superhero, right? And I think that's what makes Guardians so strong, is that it's a band of misfits. They're not traditional heroes. They have motives outside of being heroes and saving the world. That's what makes them so lovable. And I think they really went in on this in this movie with letting Peter Parker he's really, sure, he's an Avenger, he's a superhero, but he really is trying to have a life outside of that. And that was like a strong motivation for him. And I thought all the rest of the stuff, just being the high school kid in today's day and age, 2019, was super quirky and a lot of fun. It was funny.
Actually, technically, it's 2023.
Yeah, they're in the future, man.
Yeah.
Well, that explains the drone strike by a high schooler.
So to get rid of the competition, he uses a drone.
Yeah, that was funny to me. Yeah.
So moving on.
That's all I have to say about that. Yeah.
I think Christian summed everything up perfectly. Arjuna, as we're doing our favorite parts right now, what was your favorite part? If you had any.
I do, by far. The best part is the beginning of the movie. I think it's right after, it's like the second scene, which is the high school television newscast. That is done, and kind of building off of Christian's point of just like creating this high school environment and letting these characters rift, and it perfectly, I mean, Ravi, you and I did PTV in high school.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
We did high school television, and it definitely felt like that. It was like you had the little shotgun mic kind of dangling down, and the really crappy transitions and the
bad green screen,
the bad green screen, just everything. It was very well done in how badly it was done. It was funny, like they, showing the memoriam of like Iron Man, and Black Widow, and Vision, and all the characters that died in Endgame was
so
kind of
goofy.
funny. It's like it's a way to take something that's serious,
Yeah.
and put it into the world of these high schoolers and these kids,
Yeah.
it's an interesting take.
Yeah. Ivy, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part's probably going to actually be the post-credit scene.
Which one?
The one with Samuel L. Jackson, the real Samuel L. Jackson, hanging out with the Skrulls, and then what is the Skrull on Earth and his wife's name?
Talos
and his
and
wife.
I forget what his wife's name is.
Them,
Talos' wife.
them being
Wow.
them the real that they're not actually, it's not really
Nick Fury.
Hill or Fury. It was actually Skrulls the whole time.
During the movie.
And that was my favorite part, and that is a problem.
Yeah, because your favorite part was the end.
My favorite part was the very, very end, and it was basically a throwaway couple scenes, right?
But it does create a lot of questions, which I don't know if we want to dive into now or later.
No, we'll get there. I still want to kind of just complain.
Sure, keep going.
Thank you. Don't interrupt my complaining again. No, in all seriousness, this is a problem to me because I've read online that I'm not in the unfortunately minority saying that the biggest takeaway from this movie was that end sequence. And the reason I see this as a problem is because are we still at that point where these comic book movies are serialized to the point of like a TV season, essentially, or TV series?
Oh, it totally is.
Are we at that point? Because I guess, you look at it, I look at it in a larger picture where that thing that Steven Spielberg warned us about and said, and kind of went off the deep end about, where the Hollywood summer blockbuster is going to kill Hollywood. This is that relationship where these big, gigantic movies are making a crap ton of money. The smaller independent films, the smaller, more interesting things that kind of spark and help spark imagination aren't being created anymore because they can't compete with the Spider-Mans or the Marvel films.
I don't know if that's true. Those movies are still there. It's just that the marketing is drowned out. The hype is drowned out by the blockbusters. Those movies are still there, though. You can go see them. There's a bunch of movies on AMC that you can go see that you've never heard of and will never see that are probably really good. Same thing with foreign movies.
No, so with AMC, AMC is obviously in Southern California. It's the largest movie chain out here.
Sure.
There's only one theater that shows kind of those off-the-wall, more independent, foreign-type films, and that's the one out in Sunset. That's where we saw Wandering Earth, until Wandering Earth got that big boost.
It's
and
pretty
then
central location. What's the problem?
I don't live there.
It's not that far. It's not like if that's something you're passionate about, that's something you can go do, and it's the same thing with any other movie fan.
Well, so I have a couple points off of your point. So so
I'm gonna have some more points after your points about my points.
Well, so one thing that you said to me that kind of stuck with me is you said after the Mysterio reveal happened, you were kind of bored with the movie and were just waiting for the end.
Yeah,
because you felt like
that was done.
It was generic. You were done. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think this creates a bigger problem that Marvel is going to run into, and will be fascinating to watch. And something that talking with people that I know, felt with this movie and anything really post Endgame is like, well, I saw the Endgame, right? All of the Marvel movies for these first 11 years, that story is done essentially, right? Endgame, universally praised, loved, everything, and it's like, do I need to see Spider-Man and anything that really follows after this? Like, what else is there? Isn't it just going to be an extension of the same story? Mm-hmm. And I think by and large with Spider-Man, like, yeah, you could probably say like it's a cool little movie. Like, is it how needed is it? How invested am I in seeing this movie about? How invested am I in seeing another solo Spider-Man movie when there's the 3 Tobey Maguire ones, there's the 2 Andrew Garfield ones, there's Homecoming, there's Spider-Man in the 2 Avengers movies and Civil War. Like, how much more Spider-Man and Spider-Man by himself, right, do I really need that I haven't seen in the last 10, 15, 20 years? How much new ground is treaded?
My rebuttal to that, the only rebuttal to that, I think, is correct me if I'm wrong, Does the Vulture die in the first one?
No.
He does not.
So here's my thing. So maybe you're building up, perhaps, potentially, within the Spider-Man universe at least. Maybe you can build up a little Sinister Six action. You know what I'm saying?
But they killed
We still
Mysterio.
Is an illusionist. He's not dead. Come
Is
on.
he dead though?
Yeah, come on.
That's later for a theory.
And even if in the script and in their world he's dead, it would be so easy to bring him back.
But
It was an illusion.
Well, so here's one thing I have, right? I think that Marvel is getting to a point where you can't. I feel like you really can't do these smaller movies with the well-established characters. Like,
What do you mean?
another solo Spider-Man movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, sure, it's gonna make money, and I'm
But that's
sure,
all they care about, right?
Sure,
So they can't do it.
But no, they will do it.
Yeah.
But I think the problem for like me as a fan is like, do I really need to go see it? Probably not, because at this point, I don't know how much more there is to tell in a solo Spider-Man movie in high school. Right? We've had 8 of these movies now.
Right.
Like, if I wanted to see another live-action Spider-Man movie, show me like old man Peter Parker, like a 50-year-old Spider-Man down on his luck, whatever, or something that's different at least. And I think
I have a theory.
That's what hopefully they do at some point.
I have a theory about that.
Sure.
So I think and this is a theory that there's no way to confirm this, at least with what I've read. They cast Tom Holland, who's a super young dude, right?
Sure.
Tobey Maguire, and I think even Andrew Garfield were a little bit older when they were cast. The reason that they cast Tom Holland so young is that they actually do plan on doing, I think, a lot of these Spider-Man movies.
Oh yeah, Tom Holland is kind of set for life.
Like, you know how like the rest of them have like trilogies and and then the team ups.
Sure.
Like that's the formula for the rest of them. For him, I'm really thinking they're gonna do like 6 to 10, set up like a pretty cool Sinister Six, thing, right? Which is why I think whatever they do with Venom is somewhat important. I know Venom's not part of the Sinister Six. Is that right? He's
Correct.
not, right?
He is not part of
I know
the
he's
Sinister
not,
Six.
but still, if you want to do a bunch of ton of movies with Peter Parker, maybe it's a slow build, it's a slow burn. At least that's what I'm hoping for, because they're gonna make these movies, right? So
Well, they have to contractually with Sony.
yeah,
They
Oh,
have
then
to
there you
make
go.
these movies X amount.
Well, I believe Sony has to make a solo Spider-Man movie every
2 years.
5 years
Oh, that's not
to
bad.
keep the solo movie right.
Yeah,
Oh, Sony does?
Yeah, to keep certain rights. So that like we're talking about all these X, Y, and Z's and blah blah blah. But then there's also the bigger factor of like there are contractual agreements in place. So it's like
I don't know. Just start doing like mini team up movies though. Like instead of like more solo Spider-Man and solo.
right, but Sony remember Sony wants to keep those rights, so they're gonna have to do the solo Spider-Man.
But
film.
I mean,
some
like
people-
Homecoming had Iron Man in it, right? So like have Doctor Strange. Don't do a Doctor Strange 2. Do like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and Daredevil team up for some New York threat, right?
Why
They're
do
all
that?
New York
Why do that
threats.
when you can do that on top of the solo? And here's where I'll
true.
disagree a little bit. Some people really do like these solo movies. Some people like the Spider-Man movies. Some people like the Doctor Strange and the Captain Marvel and all these little solo movies.
Well, I want you to find those people.
they're there. You just go on Twitter. And
Get
you can
rid
find
of them.
Oh, you want me to get rid of them?
Yeah,
just do
but
this.
I think if you keep doing the same thing, people will get fatigued. So I'm saying if
Do you know-
Marvel's a smart,
We've been saying this since Thor 2, which
Yeah.
is Iron Man 2.
Sure.
Yep.
That's like 20 movies ago, and they're still making them. People are still seeing them, and they're still making money.
And we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
So I don't think
it's still going to happen.
No.
The
I don't.
fatigue will
I
hurt.
don't think the
Sure.
fatigue is going to happen.
If it does, it hasn't happened yet. So
It's be-
why?
it's
So
be-
why?
The reason it hasn't happened is because they have adjusted slightly. Like Captain America was a mini Avengers movie, right?
Sure.
Captain America: Civil War, Spider-Man: Homecoming had Iron Man in it. So they've started some of these elements. But to me, Far From Home is another step back into here's the Spider-Man movie. Here's the just Iron Man movie. I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I feel like they're going backwards with this movie.
I don't think they're going backwards. I think it's. Well, I mean, they don't have to. Like, they don't have to make a big blockbuster every single time.
And me personally,
1 out of every 5 that
Yeah.
needs to be a big
And
blockbuster.
for me personally, I don't want to see team ups in every movie. Like those comic book movies have never been about. Yeah, comic book movies have the team ups, but not every issue of Spider-Man is a team up, right? He still has to go back to his own life, and those stories are still important. I do agree with 100% with you that this high school Spider-Man is old and it's been done. It's been beaten to death.
And that's
literally.
what I mean. The third one's going to be him still in high school in his senior
Right.
year. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know. I trust me, I get you, and I'm waiting. I know. I'm hoping that we get to when Tom Holland can finally graduate high school, and we can see
And
some
go to
other,
college!
and see some, which we've already seen as well. But even so, and I'm hoping Dave Franco is cast as Green Goblin because it's just the circle of life at that point.
You know what would be better for a third Spider-Man is like tie it into Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. We've already kind of said. Well, they've already said in Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, it's been established as a multiverse. We already know that there is a multiverse as well within the MCU. It's been confirmed based on like the old man Cap is from another dimension. So you could do it. It would be balls to the walls crazy, but it would be fun.
Tom Holland on the junket for Far From Home did reveal that there was a plan for him to do a cameo in Into the Spider-Verse, but they just ran out of time.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
So his Spider-Man was going to show up.
Who's the studio for Into Spider-Verse? Is that just Sony?
That's Sony.
Sony
and Marvel,
Animation.
obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's not part of the MCU, but
Right.
they produced it and basically did nothing.
Produced.
I mean, it's the same. I think it's the same like kind of relationship that Fox had originally with like the X-Men and stuff. It's a courtesy type thing.
It is
Right.
quite the conundrum.
So let's move into.
I do have one other question that kind of relates, real quick. So if we buy into my theory that they are building up the Sinister Six, who would you want the next Sinister Six villain to be? If they were to do, they held a gun to your head and forced you to see the next Spider-Man solo movie.
Oh, this is gonna be a weird answer, but I always really liked the Hobgoblin in the animated Spider-Man.
That's the orange one, right?
The orange one.
Yeah,
I
The
would
original,
love-
the original Goblin.
Is Hob before Green?
At least in the anime show,
Yeah, it was
he shows up before.
Yeah,
before.
I don't know about the
that's-
comics.
Yeah,
But I always really liked the Hobgoblin, and I feel like he hasn't been done in live action. I want to see something new and different. Green Goblin we've already seen 3 times technically.
yeah.
3.
Well, you had Willem Dafoe, you had James Franco, and you had the guy in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Nice.
Oh, that's right. That interpretation was
Dave
terrible.
DeHaan, I think was his name.
He's a great actor, but
Nice.
how they did that was
was
just
terrible.
bad.
He got like fangs.
Yeah.
He got fangs
weird.
and like he had like a weird like
Well, in the Ultimate
techno mask or something.
In the he's supposed to be more of the Ultimate Spider-Man, where the Green Goblin actually turns into like this hulking thing that like shoots fireballs and is like mutated. The
yeah.
Goblin we actually see in Into the Spider-Verse.
In the Spider-Verse, is that Hobgoblin?
No, that's Goblin. That's
Oh,
Green
that's
Green
Goblin.
Goblin.
But in the Ultimate
the
Spider-Man,
mutant
like
version.
it turns into that thing instead of just like a crazy dude
Gotcha. That's
riding
interesting.
around on a glider.
Who would you want to see for a villain for Sinister Six? I know what mine is. If you want me to go next, I can.
You go next because I don't know actually who I want.
Mine would be Rhino because let's be honest, that you would just, in my opinion, you would pick the Rhino, you would make it as goofy, and you would make the movie straight comedy.
Wasn't the Rhino George?
Paul Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti.
The, end
amazing,
of,
yeah,
the beginning and end of the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, he was
I
Rhino.
don't remember that at all.
It was terrible.
It was like
That's
a quick,
probably why.
It was like maybe 60 seconds.
Actually, did you even see Amazing Spider-Man 2?
It's where Emma Stone dies at the end.
I think I did.
Because Spider-Man snaps her neck.
I literally have no What?
It's a very violent movie.
It is
What?
It is the worst Spider-Man movie. It is
Wait,
the
wait.
worst.
The second Andrew Garfield one?
It is
Yeah.
the
It's
worst
worse
Spider-Man.
than it's worse than
Spider-Man
Tobey
is
Maguire
worse
3?
than Spider-Man 3.
It's
No.
pretty. It's pretty.
It's
It's
bad.
it's strange.
I mean, that's why that universe died, because that movie sucked.
And then was it
Wow.
2 years later?
He
Homecoming.
shows up in no, he shows up in Civil War.
Yeah, he shows him in Civil War. That's it.
Yeah.
And then we get Homecoming.
Right.
That's right.
That's amazing.
What about you, Ravi? Who do you want to see
As a villain for Spider-Man?
as like who could be as the next villain in Spider-Man who could also be part of the Sinister Six?
I mean, there's obviously Kingpin because he's the big baddie.
Is he part of Sinister Six? I had
Yeah.
no idea.
He's usually the head.
there's a lot of different members of the Sinister. I think
Yeah.
like almost every Spider-Man villain has been
Octavius.
part of the Sinister Six.
Doc Ock.
Doc Ock, yeah.
Would be another good one.
Electro. Craven. Who's Craven the Hunter?
You know who I would love, and they'll never do it, and it makes me very, very sad? Carnage. But not like a dumbed-down children's version of Carnage. Like the 1990s Carnage, I don't know if you've gone back and rewatched that 1990s Spider-Man. That Carnage was actually kind of woohoo.
They are doing Carnage.
Yeah, but it's going to be a...
Woody Harrelson is being Carnage.
Yeah,
in
but
the
you
Venom
know it's
movie.
gonna be
Right,
like-
but did you see Venom?
Yeah.
Venom was about this symbiote that just wanted to... He was a loser on his planet.
Yeah. I mean, that's hilarious.
That I mean, what do you think? Carnage is going to be like
I'm gonna
this?
say.
Like,
I'm gonna say right now,
Ugh.
Venom,
oh my God.
underrated movie.
If they were
Oh,
to
boy.
do it, if they were to do a Carnage, like it would need to be a true horrifying Carnage is.
What if I propose
Cassidy?
this?
Cassidy is the main human for Carnage,
Yes.
and he was a serial killer.
Right.
Do you know what would make Spider-Man, this iteration of Spider-Man, the greatest superhero franchise of all time? You did Rhino next, made it straight comedy, and then you did Carnage for the fourth movie, made it straight horror.
They'd never do it.
I know they wouldn't, but it would make it the greatest. And if they did those both well, like a great comedy,
Yeah.
and then followed by a great horror movie, it'd be the greatest franchise ever. Well, these first two.
Well,
movies
I
have been
mean,
great, but-
if Sony does want to incorporate their Sony verse into the MCU, Jared Leto is going to be Morbius,
who's the vampire?
the vampire.
He looks like a vampire. That
No.
works.
No, I don't.
Only-
I refuse
only-
for that to happen.
wait, only
But
if
the
you-
movie's filming.
Only,
I don't care. Somebody destroy it.
Only if you have Wesley Snipes' Blade come in and shoot him in the head.
I mean, John Boyega was attached to Blade for a while.
Oh no!
No,
Wesley
he
Snipes.
can't. Wesley Snipes
Wesley
is the
Snipes.
only person in the universe. You know how there are actors that
Idris
were.
Elba, maybe.
Oh shit! Yeah,
He's
maybe.
already
Like an
been.
older
He's already
Blade.
been Heimdall.
That's fine.
So?
People don't know that.
Really?
Sony is not Marvel 100%.
Yeah.
You can get away with
Boom.
it.
I believe Marvel Disney owns Blade again, not Sony.
Do you think Wesley Snipes would want to play Blade again? Because
Yes.
Wesley Snipes is now.
He's been campaigning for it.
He's in his 50s
He's
now,
been
right?
campaigning for it.
Maybe 60.
Wesley Snipes.
He's been acting for a long time.
Yeah.
Wesley
Wesley,
Snipes.
the Blades trilogy is like some of the most best and brutal comic book translated theater out there.
Wesley Snipes is 56 years old.
Oh man.
So he would have to get
One of the
crazy
best
trainers.
memes I ever saw was the top panel is like Black Panther, and it's like first black superhero ever. And then you got Blade on the bottom, be like questionable language, like what? Yeah. So you can just guess. Great meme.
Moving on back into Spider-Man: Far From Home. What was our least? Christian, you said Mysterio was your least favorite part.
Yeah, Mysterio's dog shit.
Arjuna, what would your least favorite part be?
I think for me, my least favorite part has to be. It's really just the whole plot of the movie. To be honest,
It should just be like the movie.
I just think from the beginning it was just like, oh, we're going to like it. I feel like I'm sitting in the meeting, but it's like, all right, Spider-Man, we're doing a sequel. It's always been in New York. All right, went to Washington D.C. in the first one, which is outside of New York. We need to get more locations with different things.
Europe.
Spider-Man's gonna go all over Europe. Okay, how's that gonna work? Mysterio. Oh, okay. Like literally just people throwing out ideas, and that's the movie we got. Like that's what it
Nice.
felt like to me personally.
Yeah.
Of just like, okay, how do we get different Spider-Man suits with different locations and different colors?
I hear you were saying, Gina, that this movie felt like all the rest. When you clearly have just proven that it is so different.
It just felt like a it felt like a long commercial of things to buy and
Places to visit.
and things to go see. Like, oh, at the epic conclusion in London, and
The London Bridge or the Tower Bridge in London. It's tourism just went through the roof because of this movie.
Netherlands.
Oh, Netherlands, way up there.
So it's just like, okay, so the third Spider-Man's going to be in space because we have to keep making it bigger and more suits.
There's a Carnage movie right there.
Yeah, boom.
Oh,
The
Planet
symbiote,
Venom.
Planet Venom. He has to go all the way there.
So yeah, I would just the plot.
I think my least favorite part is probably, obviously I said it at the beginning, the CGI. Dear God.
yeah.
Specifically when Spider-Man is fighting Mysterio and Mysterio's, pumping full of kind of illusions.
Yeah.
It looked like it was straight out of the new Spider-Man game that's on the PlayStation 4. It looked like
A video game.
they took that, rendered it, maybe made it a little bit shinier just to
Just a
piss
little
me
bit
off.
shinier,
Just to
yeah,
piss me off.
Yeah.
And then they put that in there and they were like, cool, this looks great.
I completely agree with you. It was
Cartoony.
some video games actually look better than that, to be honest, like of the higher end ones. I will say this though, the actual concept of the illusions I
Cool.
thought was really cool, and the actual visuals of what we saw I think was interesting.
And that's what disappoints me about this plot twist. I wish we had gotten more of that. Like Mysterio is all about illusion and everything, and we didn't get enough of
Illusion.
illusion.
Or maybe
Mysterio.
or maybe not so much illusion in that sense, but even more trickery or
Yeah.
more deception. You know,
There's
instead
such
of just
good stuff. Like, there's a lot of good stuff. There's an arc in Spider-Man where Mysterio
is Spider-Man.
becomes Spider-Man. He switches bodies with him. You know what I mean? Like, that's how good.
I
That's
forgot
how
about that.
good he is.
Yeah.
And it's just like he came off as this like laughable loser.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once again, and this was actually, I guess, if I'm allowed a part 2 of things I didn't particularly like,
Please.
is that once again, because of Tony Stark, there is a villain. There is an issue in the world, right? Because of Tony, Vulture came about. Because of Tony, Mysterio came about. Like,
Oh wow. Yeah.
I get where I was trying to create a connected.
It's too connected.
It's way too
And
connected.
or not even connected. It's too connected to one character specifically.
Yeah.
Who is dead
Yeah.
at
well.
this point?
Edith.
Well, Ravi,
Even death, I'm the hero.
Even
remember
death,
this
I'm
though.
the hero.
With great
Or even
power
dead
comes
I'm the hero.
great responsibility, and clearly Tony wasn't always the most.
Oh, that's my
responsible.
third part that I'm really annoyed by. So I did the math, right? So Uncle Ben is a crucial piece to the Spider-Man
Story.
lore and
Yeah.
story. And we've talked about this before where you can go and change a couple things in a character, their sex, their race, their whatever, right? You can change that. But, like, the fact that a clear, important thing, an uncle to Peter, right, who raised him. Peter. He basically passed away, we've figured out, a couple months before the
So at the beginning of
Homecoming.
Civil War.
Civil War.
Right? So when he's pulled into Civil War, he's only been Spider-Man for a few months.
Right.
And so wait, that's when
Because
Ben died?
Spider-Man is the very first time Spider-Man is mentioned is Ant-Man. When Ant-Man meets with the guy and it's like, oh, you're looking for heroes? Like, I heard there's like this web slinger in New York, right? And so that's just the very beginning of Spider-Man.
Oh, wow.
Which is just a few, like, and then Ant-Man goes right into Civil War. And then Civil War happens. So he's only been Spider-Man for a few months.
So is
at
Uncle
Civil
Ben
War.
actually? Is he a character in this?
So there is a reference. There is a Uncle Ben reference in this movie. It's really quick when he is packing his suitcase for Europe. His the initials on the suitcase say BFP, Ben Franklin Parker, which is Uncle Ben.
So my beef here is I get that, you know, Peter needs some kind of, like, person and that line should come out here and there, but we never hear that line. And he's more kind of upset about Tony, who, like, stop for a second, just kind of look at it logical. And yes, I know it's a comic book movie. Nothing in this thing is logical. But, like, the human logic aspect to it. This dude who's a rich billionaire playboy, who, by the way, has caused so much destruction on this earth, he's more upset about than his own uncle who raised him.
So we just have to assume he's dealt with that trauma off screen.
Or
3
maybe
months?
his uncle died when he was super young. Like they might.
They've
I would have
changed
to
it.
assume they've taken some liberties.
And to be honest,
because that is weird.
They've missed the boat. Like,
You can't fix it
if
now.
If you made a subplot in Spider-Man 3 about Uncle Ben, it would ring.
It would just
wouldn't make any sense.
It would be dumb.
It would be like, oh,
It would be like one of the writers are listening to this podcast and they're like, we should do that, and then I'm going to call
Here's
bullshit.
here's what they're gonna do. I can already tell you what they're gonna do. Uncle Ben left when he was a baby, or they thought he died, and they're gonna take the plot of that plot where Peter Parker's parents are spies,
Yes.
and they're gonna apply that to Uncle Ben. He's gonna appear in one of these movies as an FBI agent or something, guaranteed. And he's
don't
gonna be
know.
played by Keanu Reeves.
no, he should be played by Tobey Maguire.
Oh, that'd be great, actually. That'd be really funny.
There's a petition for Tobey Maguire to play Uncle Ben
Full circle.
and for Andrew Garfield to play a pizza delivery boy.
Why pizza delivery boy?
Because
he sucks. Well, what do you think of my idea though? Keanu Reeves, Uncle Ben, FBI agent. I think that's a great idea. Sony, yeah, it only cost you $50,000.
John Watts was doing an interview and they asked him about Uncle Ben and they said everything's on the table for Uncle Ben, which is AKA we are ignoring it and we have no idea what we want to do with it. Someone else.
John
can do it.
Watts is
the
for
director
there you go.
of the movie.
I just gave you your perfect out, Sony. Hit
It's
me
terrible.
At Krishna
That's
at,
terrible. You're
That's
supposed to be a writer. That is the silliest plot I've ever heard.
I'm just giving them their out for you to be happy.
So we've kind of jumped into our theory section here.
Is Mysterio still
Talking
alive? Yes.
specifically about Uncle Ben, one of the things that was thrown out there, does he exist in the universe? If we go with Christian's batshit crazy idea,
Well,
yes.
his initials are on the suitcase, so he does exist. We just don't know anything about him.
Also, there was a scene that they deleted from Homecoming right when Peter's getting ready for the prom, and he's trying on the different clothes, and their Uncle Ben's clothes, and Aunt May talks about it, but they deleted it, so it's no longer canon.
Interesting.
Why would you delete it? I'm curious.
They said it didn't fit with Peter's arc in Homecoming.
It would have helped though,
Right.
build upon
Didn't fit.
It didn't fit. Fair.
And then to come back full circle, yes, they've never had the great power. With great power comes great responsibility line.
Sure.
But the closest we got to it was actually in Civil War when Tony comes to Peter in his bedroom and he's like, "Why are you Spider-Man?"
Oh, that's right.
And he's like, "Well, you just got." He says basically a synonym to it. He's like, "I just want to, when you have this, you got to stand up for the little guy."
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Something like that.
Or it's like with, I don't know. Never mind.
So one of the other theories, or one of the other questions that you two keep bringing up is about Mysterio, and that he potentially may be alive.
He's definitely alive.
I would like to remind you all that Peter asked Edith, the glasses AI, is this a simulation? And her response was, all simulations have been turned off.
Here's my point.
Yeah, here's my point too.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Say them at the exact same time.
so
I think they would love that.
So my point is this: Mysterio had control of Edith for quite some time.
Boom.
At that point,
Okay.
he could have, and we know he's a super scientist type of guy because he created Barf. So there go. He used his science abilities and could have changed Edith.
He had a team under him as
Right.
well.
He had a team under him. And it could have been practical effects, right? Illusion is just not CGI.
Also,
Body double.
Don't forget the fact that his second in command packs up all the computers and stuff. So he still has access
he's out there
to
in
all
the
the
wind.
illusions. So even if Quentin, whatever his name is, doesn't return as Mysterio, the power of Mysterio still exists.
That I will.
So Mysterio is still alive.
I think that makes sense. I don't think Jake Gyllenhaal's character is still alive.
Yeah, it doesn't matter either way. You could bring him back. You don't have to. However they do it, it's fine.
Actually, now that I'm playing this out in my head, you could argue that Mysterio is still alive because there's a video that goes out from James Jonasson that shows that Peter.
Oh, we should probably talk about this.
Yeah. The biggest reveal.
The biggest reveal in the movie.
Peter's identity was blasted all over the screen. I found a couple of interesting articles that kind of talk about like how does this play out? Have we seen this in the comics before? The first time or the biggest time we actually see this is during the Civil War comic book arc.
Peter outs himself.
Yeah, he outs himself because he joins with Tony, part of the Accords, or what we refer to in the MCU as the Sokovian Accords. So they fixed that whole piece in Civil War based on, I think the people just kind of forget, essentially.
That's how you fix it.
Yeah.
Comics.
Comics and news, they just kind of forget. There's a couple other ones where his identity is revealed and they use various things, so like magic or tech or whatever to kind of wipe people's memories. There was an interesting article that came out about it where they were like, well, in this day and age, like look at our own in real life right now, we get celebrity like hate crimes, weird sex tape leaks, like all this other stuff, but people generally, for the most part, forget.
Yeah, for sure.
So I wouldn't be surprised if you could make the case of, Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and then with enough time and enough other events happening, that knowledge just becomes kind of forgetful, or nobody
people
cares.
don't care.
Or people don't care, or people don't believe it.
Or
Right.
Second point, in this movie, they're trying real hard to have Spider-Man just be the next Iron Man, right? He's in his freaking jet, he's building the freaking thing, his armor. So yeah, Iron Man got to choose to reveal his identity, but I think this is sort of like the foil to it. I think they're setting up Peter Parker to be like the Iron Man, at least the science, maybe not the leader, but at least the science, like the Iron Man science behind the new Avengers, which they're obviously gonna do. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So
Which will literally be called
yeah,
the New Avengers.
Or Secret Avengers.
No, Secret Avengers technically has already happened.
Skrulls.
No, the Secret Avengers would be Cap and his team after Civil War.
But they never called themselves the Avengers, so...
Yeah, but they were the Secret Avengers.
Oh, is that what that is?
No.
Technically, yes.
No.
Then what is the Skrull Avengers? Did they take over all the Avengers?
They're called the Scrivengers.
Wow, that sounds right.
It's spelled S''Avengers.
I don't like the reveal personally.
That whole thing at the end.
Yeah, I just feel like
Does it make you fear for
Peter's life?
no,
Peter's
and this is why the MCU hasn't really done secret identities for anybody. And
except for Peter.
Yeah. And
makes sense,
they just got rid of it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so we live in a universe where every hero is outed and there's really no consequences to that at all. If
Well, that's
you
not
think
true.
about it.
There might be. He's still in high school, right?
That's true.
So,
So
it is a big
Right.
reveal, right? So there must be some
So
consequences.
so I feel like the third one does need to deal with a lot of this. It can't just be like, oh, haha, it's nothing really, and like life goes on the same. His life can't be the same.
Do we know when the third one's coming out? I guess
Has
nothing's
not
been
been
announced, right?
If we're going the trajectory of how it's gone with Homecoming and this one, it should be 2 years.
Yeah.
It'd be 2021.
Do you think there'll be a team up movie before then?
Yes.
With him?
Yes.
Yes.
Which one?
It'll be
They've
called
released the
Scavengers.
movies, haven't they? The movie.
No.
All we know is that next year, and these are both rumors. Supposedly, there's a
Ah.
Black Widow solo film coming out next year, and the Eternals coming out
Yeah.
next year.
Oh, never mind. Wow, that's so random.
But we should have
Yeah.
a better confirmation during Comic-Con.
Which is when?
That is going to be
Next week.
Next week.
You think we're gonna get some reveals?
Well, not
we
next
we
week, the week
will
after.
actually. This was a good plug for us. We will be on the ground. So
You will?
check out Twitter.
I mean, we will.
Yes. Well, some of
You
us
won't be.
You won't.
You'll be at work.
Oh, I'm a
This is
loser.
his job.
Oh yeah.
This is all we do full time.
So I just
Sell it, kids.
I just feel like the reveal, and also just to tack it on at the end. While it was cool to see J. Jonah Jameson, and I kind of liked what they did, the Daily Bugle instead of being a newspaper, being
was a
like
web thing?
a website thing.
Yeah.
Like, that
Oh, it was
brought
great.
it into modern. Bringing back J.K. Simmons was great.
Especially if it's 2023.
Uh,
God.
But just to have it there and it's like, oh no. It kind of reminds me of Homecoming. Like the big thing at the end of Homecoming was Aunt May finds out that Peter is Spider-Man. And there was no consequence to that. She's like fully on board. We didn't see any type of discussion or argument or anything. Literally, she's just in the beginning of the movie, and she's really there just to give a reason for Happy Hogan to be there, who has a much bigger role than Aunt May does.
Sure.
So that reveal fizzled because it didn't really lead to anything. And my fear is this same end is going to do the same thing. Like, oh, it's not a big deal.
Right.
Everyone just accepts it. There's no conflict. It doesn't
Nobody
really
cares.
doesn't really move the story forward, right? Like,
Sure.
what did Aunt May, knowing that he's Peter, which is again a departure from the traditional comic books, really change anything about this movie?
She helped him with his fundraiser.
That was her fundraiser.
Well,
And
there
he
you go,
helped her.
Tuna. She had selfish motives after she found out.
Like, she knew and she's just supportive, but it
And
it
used
didn't
him.
really do anything. You
Yeah.
could have removed the entire character of Aunt May, and it wouldn't have changed the plot of the movie.
Tuna, it's 2019. Something changed, and it sounds like you're stuck in the 1990s. And you need
Oh
to.
my God.
That was the X-Men.
That was the
not-
X-Men
not
90s. What do you?
Oh
get your,
yeah, great
Get your
song.
comics right there, buddy.
Wow, that's weird.
The last theory we have, someone just wrote Skrulls. So,
Oh yeah,
someone want to explain what that means?
Well,
Yes.
So the thing I wanted to get to was the reveal of Nick Fury being a Skrull in this movie. The obvious question is, how long has Talos been Nick Fury?
Right. That is the $1 million question for sure. You would assume. I have no idea.
I think that's a very easy. That's actually an easy one to kind of pick
you
up.
sure?
Yeah, because the Samuel or the Nick Fury character that we got, right? He did not act Nick Fury at all. In fact, there were definitely points in the movie where I was like, okay, what are they doing? This is just being stupid at this point.
Right.
I thought it was
Like,
hilarious.
It was being dumb. So I think if we are going to kind of sit for a minute and be like, oh, when did they swap him out? My personal theory is going to be the Nick Fury that we saw at the end of Infinity War that was with Hill that pulled out the pager. I don't know why, but my gut tells me that was not actually Fury. That was Talos, and then the switch had already happened. And that was also the reason it goes back to why the pager was pulled out then and there is because Talos realized it was a big whatever and had the foresight to go out and reach out to her. That's my theory.
What? So then the Fury we had at Iron Man's funeral, was that the real Fury or was that Talos?
I would like to think it's the real Fury out of respect,
Right.
but to be quite honest, doesn't matter either way.
Right.
Because nothing except a funeral happened, and if you go on Instagram, all the celebrities posting their selfie videos. Those are the only two things that happened then.
Here's the other thing.
Yeah.
You had mentioned this, and it was a theory after Endgame when you see Peter reunite with Ned at the high school. You see what looks like Ben Mendelsohn's human version of Talos.
Yes.
So what would that mean? Like, what's the?
The indication is he's there
He's just been there for a minute. Okay.
So maybe the switch happens after that. Maybe.
So some people have speculated that the switch happens between Endgame and
this movie
because
it's 8 months period.
the Skrulls came back with Captain Marvel.
How do we know that?
In the battle.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
In theory, the switch could also have happened as early as Captain Marvel, really. And yeah, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
But in theory, Nick Fury could have been Talos the entire
I think
time.
I think a lot of people would be pissed off.
Yeah, that just makes no sense.
I will say Samuel L. Jackson did an amazing job playing Talos playing Nick Fury because it was different, and I actually thoroughly enjoyed it.
How does that work from a contractual obligation? As
No, it's fine. He's still Nick Fury.
I need you to play an alien playing you, playing a silly version of you.
And I thought he did a great job because it was different.
Yeah.
You got a different vibe. I'm like, wait, did the snap lighten him up? Like, why is he so happy
make
all of a
him
sudden?
like the worst spy ever?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of rants as well. We've got, where does this movie rank in terms of Spider-Man films?
I'm gonna I'll
Solo
go first.
Spider-Man movies.
Solo Spider-Man films.
I'm gonna put it third. I think Spider-Man 1 and 2 with Tobey Maguire are better.
Toby.
But I think this is better than the Andrew Garfield duology, and I was disappointed with Homecoming. Part of me wants to go back and watch Homecoming again to see if maybe I was just in a bad mood that day or something.
Christian, when aren't you in a bad mood?
Like when I saw this movie.
Really?
Because clearly I'm positive on it, so I'm gonna put this one third.
Well, actually, real
Third.
quick,
Okay.
let's take a second here, and just kind of discuss how we all saw these films. So Arjuna and I went to go see the film together, and then you saw the film later the same day, but by yourself.
So when I'm not with you, I'm happy.
Interesting. Oh, Christian's we gotta start doing some tests on this.
Yeah, we do.
You'll need to start seeing movies by ourselves.
Yeah.
See if we get a better experience. Yeah.
Better smells.
Yeah, because usually Arjuna's crying, I'm snoring, and you're just happy about everything.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
it's pretty much how we see it.
Wow.
Sweating.
Why are you
Profusely.
sweating?
I don't know.
Arjuna, where do you rank this Far From
I'm
Home?
gonna put it 5th out of 7.
Ooh, can I guess what your top 3 or the order?
Sure.
The original Tobey Maguire 1, 2, and 3.
What?
And then Homecoming, and then this one.
No.
Damn,
I'm gonna go Spider-Man 1. I'm gonna go Homecoming. I'm gonna go Spider-Man 2, and then I'm even gonna go the first Andrew Garfield movie, then this movie.
Wow.
That's not shocking.
I'm gonna put this as 4th. I put the Tobey Maguire 1, 2, and 3 as my top 3. Then this over Homecoming, and then the last 2 can be.
Spider-Man 3 was
ones.
better than Homecoming?
Yes, it's way more memorable.
It's
the
true.
Fact that there's that,
It's true.
The fact that there's that batshit insane sequence,
Which has been made fun of ad nauseum.
Yeah, exactly. But that, to me, that's great storytelling in cinema because I still remember that. I can't remember a whole lot from Homecoming.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I would say what you will. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man still has like some of the most iconic Spider-Man moments. The upside down kiss.
Yep.
The Venom walk.
Yep.
The backhand.
I mean, it's so iconic. Most of those moments were referenced in Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yes.
I guess if we're ranking Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
with those movies-
Spider-Verse.
that's number 1.
Yeah, it's
There's
number 1.
nothing can beat
But
that.
listen-
I don't know about that. I might put it second.
To what?
Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire.
Just because it kicked
Get
everything.
the fuck out of here.
What? Really? No, go back and watch that movie. It still holds up. Even with its... and it's also got a cheesy 90s vibe to it. Like, even though it came out in, like, I think early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
It has like, a cheesy vibe, which totally works for Peter Parker. Peter Parker is an old, traditional kind of a character, right? The nerdy
Would you say
white guy.
what would you say is more American comic book hero, Superman or Spider-Man?
I would say of today's generation.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
today's generation, Spider-Man.
Yeah, you gotta go Spider-Man.
But like of our parents' generation, it's Superman, no doubt.
For me personally, it's Batman.
Well, you didn't.
Nothing
You didn't
says-
include him.
Nothing says America like a billionaire fighting crime in black at night in a city that is corrupt as hell.
Let me add another character to this list. Deadpool. Because I would say Deadpool.
Deadpool actually might become, or is soon becoming, like
The quintessential.
not quintessential, but like an iconic comic book.
Hey guys, we gotta see what Disney's gonna do to screw up this character.
I bet they don't screw it up.
I don't know.
I bet they leave it alone until someone goes too far, and then all the parents of Disney, there's big outrage, and then they'll screw it up.
It's rated R.
Arjuna, you volunteered. You were
did.
sacrificed this week for the hot take. What do you have for us?
My hot take for this movie is that the Mysterio twist, the Mysterio. I can speak.
Jesus.
The Mysterio twist took away from the movie. And I think we talked about this earlier, but the reason the twist took away, it robbed us of valuable character development for the character, made Jake Gyllenhaal very one-dimensional, included just a really poor movie scene that was bad. Like, it just wasn't good. It wasn't good filmmaking. It wasn't good. It wasn't interesting. It was cringeworthy to me. And it ruined the movie for me. When that twist happened, the movie was ruined at that point. I was enjoying myself. Like I liked where the movie was going, and the twist happened, and I was out. I was out.
The madman speech.
The madman speech happened, and I was out of the movie.
That's totally valid. I cannot.
And I blame Jake.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
No, I don't blame.
He's
him.
a nice man.
He's a nice man.
Is he though?
I mean, he's okay.
He played Donnie Darko. How nice can he be?
I mean, he's got to be somewhat mentally crazy, right, to play Donnie Darko.
Oh, I agree.
It's not. You're not wrong.
You got some fun facts here.
Yes. So the movie opened up a little early, and in its 6-day take, it made $185 million.
How is that
Domestically.
compared to, let's say, Endgame?
I mean, it's less than Endgame,
Half.
but
Is it like a third? Is it a fourth? Is it a
Probably like a
fifth?
third.
I don't know. It's hard to say because they did a 6-day take because it opened Tuesday night.
Right.
So it was 185 million domestically. It's already made 580 million internationally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's gonna make, it's probably gonna hit around $1 billion. Might be a little less than $1 billion.
Anything less than $1 billion is a failure now.
It's true.
No, I mean
I'm
this movie's
kidding,
gonna
but-
turn a profit. It only had a budget of 160 million.
Oh, so it's already turned
pretty
profit.
cheap. Pretty
Yeah.
cheap.
Okay.
Surprising.
Let's kind of. I think we've beaten this one to hell.
We have.
So we're gonna ask the age-old question right now. We'll start with Krishna, the eldest.
Oh.
Krishna, was Spider-Man Far From Home good?
It was good. It was funny. I had a good time. It was entertaining. I was expecting it to be horrible. But yeah, I was shocked. I mean, surprised. Arjuna, was Spider-Man Far From Home good?
I'm going to have to say no for this one.
What?
Just because
What?
I wanted to like this movie, but I think with what they did with Mysterio and the plot, it became a forgettable, unneeded sequel. Ravi, was Spider-Man
No.
Far From Home good?
No.
Let him finish, Ravi.
No.
How dare you?
No.
That's 4 no's.
I know.
No. And would anyone watch it again?
No.
Probably not, to be honest. Even though I liked it.
I think out of this movie, like I said at the beginning, we saw this movie because it helped set up the next phase, give us a tickle of what's to come.
Yeah, I won't watch it again, but I do want to have like the Madman speech primed and ready to go, so that like as soon as you walk into the kitchen, I'm just gonna play it and scare you and make you mad
Why would you do that?
to enrage you.
That's going to do it for us, everybody. This was the Was It Good podcast. We just reviewed Spider-Man Far From Home. Be sure to check out our podcasts when we post them. You can follow us on the socials. Twitter, it's going to be at Was It Good. Instagram, at Was It Good BTM. Like we said earlier, we'll have some fun stuff from Comic-Con next week. Maybe a Stranger Things podcast in the near future. As they say, stay frosty. I don't know why they say that. Also, I don't know if I'm legally allowed to say that.
Goodbye.
All right, that's the recording.
Where's your cat
Still
going?
streaming.
I don't know. Was he? He's waiting to leave. He's like, let me
I
out.
need to poop.
I have to poop.
Well, let's kill the stream too, then.
Killing
Goodbye.
the stream.
Goodbye, everyone.